This video is for atheists and unbelievers. A lot of you will claim that you don't trust the Bible and you don't read the Bible because it was written by man. My question to you, if it wasn't written by man, who else would have it been written by? Another thing is, a lot of you like to say that the Bible is just a bunch of stories, it's made up, that Jesus' disciples were just making stories up to control people. Every one of Jesus' disciples died. They were tortured and they were martyred for their faith in Jesus. If they were just making up stories, why would they allow themselves to be killed like that? Why would they die for a lie? Peter was hung upside down on a cross because he didn't feel like he was good enough to be hung on a cross like Jesus was. So he had them hang him upside down. If they were just telling stories, these people that said they walked with Jesus, and Jesus, even atheists, like scholars, will tell you Jesus exists. They all agree. All historians agree that Jesus did exist. So that these men that walked with Jesus were just making stories up, why would they allow themselves to be tortured and die horrific deaths for a lie that they supposedly made up? Who are they trying to control? People 2,000 years later? Okay, and then you guys, you all believe in evolution because Darwin told you evolution is what's what. Now, evolution is a theory. Theory actually means basically a guess, right? Darwin lived in the 1900s. He wasn't around when the earth was created. He wasn't around during the times when the earth was still young and God was still walking with people. And he claims that everything came from nothing. So there was nothing and it created everything. It created your eyes, your soul, your mind, your heart. It created morals, values, this nothing. We evolved from apes. Okay, well, why didn't all apes evolve into humans? Why don't we see half humans, half apes walking around? Because evolution hasn't finished. Or has evolution finished? And if evolution's finished, then how is it evolution? How are we constantly evolving? And why do we still see apes? Apes walking around, in the jungle and stuff. Why are there still monkeys? If humans evolved from monkeys. So you'll claim that. You'll believe that. But you won't believe men who were around during the time that the world began, who walked with God, who walked with Jesus, who died horrific deaths because of what they believed. What they knew was true. They died. So my question is, I guess I don't even really have a question. I'm just trying to understand. Because Jesus, like I said, all historians know that Jesus existed. There's proof. There's historical artifacts. There's written documentations. There's everything that proves that Jesus was an actual man. Even Muslims believe Jesus is an actual man. And that's another thing. Muslims will believe Muhammad, who was alive 1,200 years after Jesus, who added to the Torah and added to the Bible. They believe him over Jesus' own words and over the people that walked with Jesus. And he wasn't even alive for 1,200 years after Jesus. And y'all will say that disciples wrote the book, it was so long after they walked with, after their story. If you walked with God, would you ever forget that? All the New Testament books were written about 40 to 50, 60 years after Jesus. So, yeah, his disciples were doing other things. The story wasn't finished. They were out ministering. They were teaching the gospel. So when they got around to it, they wrote the books. I don't understand. I don't understand why that's an issue. Muhammad wrote the Quran 1,200 years after Jesus. Most books written about historical figures aren't written for hundreds and hundreds of years after that historical figure. The disciples waited 40, 50, 60 years to write their story about Jesus because they were busy, obviously. They were, and then they were being martyred and ridiculed and persecuted and everything else. And you guys want to use that and say, oh, it's not accurate. I'll tell you what is accurate. There are over, probably over 2,000 prophecies in the Bible. I'm not sure. There's a bunch of prophecies. But I will tell you, 86% of all prophecies in the Bible have come to pass with 100% accuracy. The other 14% that hasn't happened yet, it's coming to pass. We see it right now. Anybody who knows the Bible and who reads the Bible and has faith in God and understands what's going on around this world will tell you, we see prophecy unfolding. In fact, your unbelief is a sign of the end days. Because up until 1960, most of the majority of America was Christian. Now look, there's probably maybe 30% of the country, 40% of the country is a true Christian. That's Bible prophecy. Y'all mock Jesus and make fun of him. Hollywood, the movies, TV, music, all of it makes fun of him, mocks him. That's Bible prophecy unfolding. The Bible says to do that. The Bible says in the end days, people will mock Jesus. They'll be haters of God. And you guys are proof of that. It's another prophecy unfolding. For a man who didn't exist, or who just told stories, or who was just a fairy tale, it's funny that his name has lasted over 2,000 years. People still talk about him. 2,000 years, people still hate him. 2,000 years, people still ridicule him. But the man didn't exist. I mean, I can say probably at least once a day, his name's mentioned by somebody. Somebody all over the world. People all over the world, different countries, different continents who've never met, believe in this man that lived 2,000 years ago. But you guys say he isn't real. Instead, your faith is in a man who lived in the 19th century, who wasn't around during the Earth's creation, who knows nothing about what happened, who made a guess and said you came from monkeys. Instead, you believe the scientific impossibility that nothing created something. If there is nothing, nothing can create nothing. If there's a creation, that means there was a creator. If there's a painting, that means there was a painter. If there was a building, that means there was a builder. Yet you say that's silly. It's a fairy tale that creation has a creator, and that nothing existed and then nothing created everything. With intricate detail, flawlessly, everything works together the way it's supposed to work, but it was all an accident. We came from apes. Do you see half ape men, half men? You see half apes, half men walking around? Why didn't all the apes evolve? Why didn't they all evolve into humans? Why do we still see them? And if evolution isn't finished, why don't we see some humans that are part ape? Make it make sense. Because your theology, or your theory, I guess, it's not theology, it's a theory. Your theory is flawed. Your faith is in nothing, literally. Your faith is that everything's accidental. And this nothing gave you morals and values and a conscience to know what's right or wrong. Couldn't possibly be God, right? I just want some answers. I would just like atheist thoughts on this. Couldn't possibly be God, right? But I bet, and I could probably guarantee every one of you, when you're in trouble, something horrible's happening to you, you're on your knees begging for God. You'll turn to him when you're in trouble. You'll mock him when you're doing good. You make fun of him, and you wonder why he's not there. You hate him, you mock him, you make fun of him, and then you get mad because he won't allow you, because Christians will tell you can't go to his home unless you follow him, unless you love him. Why would he let you in his home if you don't love him? Why would he do anything for you if you don't value him? I guess this is all I've got to say to you guys. I don't know what else to say. If none of that makes any sense, then you're just, I don't know. You've been given over to a reprobate mind, which again is Bible prophecy. It says people will be given over to reprobate minds in the end days, and they will not be able to see the truth. And anyways, you all have a blessed day.